Hey, I'm Ben Greenfield. And look, unless you've been hiding under a rock for the past 10 years, you know that there can be a cost to technology. There can be a dark side to this new post-industrialized era that we live in. Namely, because as we walk around and live our daily lives, especially if we work in offices or around computers or on screens much of the day, we are getting exposed to radiation and electromagnetic fields that in no way mimic the natural, primal electricity that we experience for thousands of years as human beings. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against electromagnetic fields. The Earth emits anywhere from 1 to 100 hertz frequencies. We get bombarded by arguably beneficial photonic light from the sun. We can get access to radiation when we're climbing on rocks or holding onto trees or walking around barefoot. But the idea is that extremely high hertz frequencies and square pattern waveforms that are extremely predictable can cause some problems in the human body. For example, we all know that if you hold your phone up to your head or you keep your phone in your back pocket, you can cause heating of tissues that in the former case can cause issues with the brain, or in the latter case, especially in men, can affect things like fertility and sperm quality. But we also know that things like hefty exposure to Wi-Fi radiation, smart appliances, even frequent use of many Bluetooth technologies can also cause issues in the body, especially if someone A, has a lot of metals in their body like mercury, aluminum, etc., or B, if someone is electrosensitive or electrohypersensitive. These are all issues that can cause you to sleep poorly, to have brain fog as the afternoon sets in, to be hyper-irritable or at least have mild nervousness, stress, and anxiety throughout the day. Another thing that happens when we're exposed to high amounts of EMF, and this is particularly a problem when you're, say, on an airplane and half the people on the airplane haven't even put their phones into airplane mode or are switching them out of airplane mode right when the plane's landing, so you're stuck in a metal tube with hundreds of different signals just transmitted all over your body. Your cells actually respond to that in a very interesting way. What happens is that the cell membrane becomes more permeable to calcium. You see a steep influx of calcium into the cell, and calcium as a positively charged ion shifts the interior of the cell into a positively charged state when it's supposed to be in a slightly negatively charged state. So this affects cellular metabolism, removal of waste, your ability for your mitochondria to be able to operate properly and produce ATP. So as you would imagine, there's a host of issues with EMF. Now, I don't walk around in a giant tinfoil hat and a Faraday suit and live in a Faraday cage for my entire life, but I do keep my eyes constantly alerted for smart technologies that are going to allow me to mitigate EMF. Now, I'm going to show you one that I keep in my phone. My phone is in a protective case, and there are great companies out there that make protective cases for your phone. But within the protective case of my phone, I have something called an Aires Tech, A-I-R-E-S. I also have one of these down in my office by my computer and on my laptop. So I'm going to pull it out of here. It fits quite snugly, which is great because I don't want to lose it. But you can see it's right in here in the pocket of this phone. So let's pull this out. So the phone model looks like this. This goes into my phone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Aires Tech actually does. They started as a technology solution for the military, and then they later refined their products to be consumer products. Now, this required thorough scientific research and proof of efficacy that would not happen if the Aires Tech was originally created as consumer goods. But because they started off as a technology solution for the military, they were poised to do a lot of very interesting research into the science of EMF protection. And their approach is a little bit different. It's not EMF blocking or EMF absorption, which a lot of technologies claim to do. Instead, they use what's called EMF modulation. And what this does is mitigates or minimizes the biological or health impacts of electromagnetic radiation. So, like I mentioned, the technology in this is not meant to block signals, but rather to protect biological objects from the negative influence of what's called technogenic electromagnetic radiation. So not only do they have a design patent on this, but they've done a lot of testing for proof of efficacy. These things are not just third-party tested, but they're actually peer-reviewed meaning they have peer-reviewed studies behind them published in academic journals that I'll link to along with this video, which show that these things actually work to protect your body from electromagnetic radiation. For example, one of the studies that Aires Tech did was based on brain scans. They did a brain scan conducted by a neuroscientist who used EEG to show how the brain is impacted by radiation in just a few short moments. And they did this both with and without exposure to the Aires Tech product. Now, the results from that study clearly showed how having an Aires product near you can minimize impact on the brain immediately as soon as you start using it. So in my opinion, protecting your health from EMF is one of the most important things that you can do for you and your family. And technologies like the Aires, which are simple, easy to put on a phone, take with you on the go, put on your purse, put next to your computer, stick at your workstation, allow you to actually protect yourself by literally changing the way that electromagnetic fields interact with and impact the human body. So Aires, AIRES, basically is a technology that, again, you can have on your phone. They have special models that you can wear around your neck. And again, they are allowing your body to better deal with the exposure to electromagnetic fields, and they change the electromagnetic fields to be more in tune with your body's natural frequency. So you might not quite understand what I mean by that and how it works, but I'll explain that a little bit more. See, technology is quite convenient. It's important for our daily lives these days, especially if you work in any type of environment where you need your computer and your phone. It's also great to be able to stay in touch with family and friends. So the idea is not to interfere with the use of these devices or impede their ability to be able to communicate. Instead, the core technology at the heart of these Aires Tech products was originally designed as a medical device for the military to protect the military from the radiation that they were exposed to, but still allow them to use the tools that they needed to function. So, the concept behind this is called modulation. That means that a field has been transformed to be more biologically compatible. So what they put in this is a semiconductor antenna that powers a passive microprocessor. That means no batteries or charging are required. This works in the presence of any form of radiation. Now, inside the microprocessor of the Aires Tech, there are over 1 million microscopic etchings. So it's a very high-tech piece of equipment that's working to minimize harm from radiation, but that doesn't require you to constantly be charging it up with a battery or powering it up or having to get another device because it's broken. It's very, very simple and very durable. Now, this is really powerful because EMFs, like I mentioned, can impact every cell in your body on a second-by-second basis. So ideally, you've got some way to be able to protect yourself 24/7 because EMFs are always surrounding us and they come from a number of different sources. So we're walking through these chaotic fields of high hertz frequencies that can be very hard for our bodies to adapt to and can put ourselves in a very constantly stressful state. So what they've done with this modulation technology is first, they have something called the Lifetune 1. It's a very small option, offers 19-foot diameter of coverage. You stick it directly on your most used devices, like a cell phone, a laptop, or a tablet. Then they have what's called the Lifetune Flex, which is a versatile option that offers 42-foot diameter protection. It has a small keyhole in the design, so you can hook it on a bag, wear it around your neck, and more. And the large effective range of this, but the small size, means that you can use it on the go, or like I have down on my downstairs desk or up on my nightstand. Now, they also have the Lifetune Zone Max. That's the largest option with a 139-foot diameter. It has this sleek, minimal design, but it's ideal for large areas where there's a log of sources of radiation, like a living room or an office space. Now, the big question is, of course, and I'm often asked this, how do you know stuff like this works? Well, in this case, there's no other EMF protection product with this extensive level of peer-reviewed research, clinical trials, and a global patent. This was actually presented at the International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, and Aires Tech's clinical trials cover a broad range of implications for the power of their technology. For example, they've tested and seen positive results on heart rate variability, neurological processes, and cellular function in central organs. And their global patents cover not only the design of their product, but the actual mechanism by which it works. This means that they have to do an extra round of confirmation that it actually works before claiming that it does what they're showing that these powerful things can actually do. Aires Tech has also done multiple EEG brain scans, like I mentioned, with neuroscientists showing how the product improves brain function. You can see one of them on YouTube. It has over 2.5 million views, and I'll put a link in the video to the Aires Tech EEG brain scan demonstration, which is super interesting. So obviously, I'm impressed, as you should be, by the level of credibility behind Aires and their technology, which is pretty hard to come by when looking for EMF protection in a market that's saturated with claims for EMF protection devices that don't actually have studies behind them. So, along with this video, I'm going to give you a link and a code where you can get Aires Tech for yourself at a discount. This is super important to protect you, to protect your family, and I've been implementing their products to reduce EMF when I'm at home and also when I'm traveling through high EMF areas like hotels, airports, and like I mentioned, even airplanes. So check it out. Aires Tech, powerful technology, good science, good research. This one is a no-brainer, pun intended.